Hello and welcome to this week's Football Talk podcast, episode 153, and it's me, Dave, as your host. And this is your chance to let all that emotion and frustration out as, well, we're going to discuss the final, aren't we, Josh? Speaking of which, let's go over to a rainy, subdued. It's very rainy and dark here as well. Thunderstorms are here. How you doing, Josh?
Been better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I've been better. I'm quite tired.
Yep.
Quite emotional. Yep. Quite downbeat. Yeah. It's not even looking forward to the Premier League season coming back.
Just cancel football.
It's more of the same.
Yeah. It's I mean, do we want to do news, or should we just go straight into raw emotion?
Let's just talk about it though. Let's get it out, because I mean, it's quite funny. Last night I was me and my wife obviously watched the game, went to bed, and she in the line next to me. She went, "I feel sorry for you, but I'm not a man." And I was like, that's a strange thing to say. It's like, well, just someone to talk through all of this with. And I was like, oh, it's probably quite nice, but I don't have to talk through. I can just forget it. But I didn't end up forgetting it. I had a really bad night's sleep, and it was just going over my head. And just
Katie just...
The things that went over in my head were seeing the Italians dance right next to the England players, and it just... I don't know, I just couldn't get that.
I don't think there's ever
a dance down my head. And also Bonucci's coming to Rome, and
so I didn't know that there's a big thing in like other countries than England that the whole "it's coming home" thing, they think we're taking it really seriously. I'm like, no, it's
really?
It's like Saratoga. What's that sort of comedy? It's like where you sort of poke fun at yourself. It's like.
Self-deprecating.
Yeah, it's like that's what it is, isn't it? It's self-deprecating that we sing it because we haven't won anything in so long. It's just like, but yeah.
It's a hopeful chant. It's like, I mean, we've been singing it since like the first game. It's definitely not serious, because I mean, I'm not sure many people out there when it went to penalties would have been going, this is our time.
Exactly. So, but it's just very annoying. I had the same thing with my wife. She didn't know what to say. She got up and watched it with me and was just like, "Do you want a cuddle?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do." And we'd had a conversation the day before, and it was like, "What's the best thing that could happen?" And I was like, "We dominate the game like we played against the Ukraine. I'm not expecting that sort of result, like scoreline, but that is the best outcome. Like, we control the game, we control it through, and we play well." She was like, "What's the worst outcome?" I was like, "Losing on penalties. That is the worst outcome that could happen. I'd rather lose 2-1 in normal time." But it was just, so...
I mean, you must have been thinking it was quite similar to Ukraine after going goal up after what?
I know.
90 seconds, was it? I can't remember what it was,
yeah, it was just... I don't know, Josh. I don't...
Okay, so let's just talk wide. Let's talk wider that. So perspective. The tournament overall.
Good tournament.
For England.
A good tournament for me. Good tournament for England. Like, perspective-wise, great tournament for England. Really good to see fans back in the stadiums, although I'm not sure how much I agree with it in terms of, COVID's not gone yet, so I don't think I agree with them being that as full as they were. But a big highlight, weirdly, refereeing. I thought spot on. Refereeing's been really good all tournament.
I would say at times a little too lenient.
Okay.
Just a little. I'd say it's kind of like 80% right, but at times it was kind of just a little bit kind of like maybe I've just been hardened by Premier League stringency, and kind of like, hey, that's a foul, and maybe it isn't a foul. But at times I think there's a few challenges last night, for example, where I think should have been given, like a few people being blocked off. But
okay. I can sort of agree.
But no, overall, very impressive. The way that VAR was dealt with and handled, like how many. We had a couple of hair breadths of offsides, but...
No. Yeah, so I thought the officiating was good. I think generally it's all been pretty good. I'm just going to need to ask a question to the chat, because my live preview stream has just completely died on us. So I have no idea if this is coming across well. I hope it is, but like I hope there's no issues. I hope you can hear us, see us, and whatever.
We just said having a cathartic chat between ourselves.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I've got an error that says infinity : nan 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 nan. So never seen that before in my life. But yeah, right. Ross is saying it's fine, so that's okay. It's just, yeah, it's just a bit shit, isn't it? It's a bit shit because we started to believe in our WhatsApp group. I have put in there to say an article that I found with a good sentence that was like, the last 2 tournaments was losing in the last 16 to Iceland and finishing bottom of our group. Like, this is huge progress. A semi-final in a World Cup and a final in the Euros is huge progress. But that's what makes it hurt more, isn't it? Because we had hope for the first time ever, really, in our generation. So,
yeah,
it
is, yeah, absolutely. So what's been your kind of highlight of the tournament then? The Denmark match?
I don't know. Ukraine was really good, doing it away from Wembley, showing that it wasn't just playing at Wembley where we performed. We played well. We scored 4 goals. The Germany match was incredible. I think Jordan Pickford proving he's a capable goalkeeper, a good goalkeeper, a really good goalkeeper at times. There's lots of highlights, and that's what makes it so difficult to still be so depressed. Like there are a lot of positives that you can focus on. Winning the group, beating Germany, good goal scorers, good goals. Luke Shaw getting his first goal for the team. Like Harry Maguire scoring. Harry Maguire's penalty was bloody brilliant.
Harry Maguire is probably one of my standout.
Is he an elite centre back? Can you call him an elite centre back after this performance at the Euros?
I think he would have proven a lot of people wrong in this tournament. Because I think a lot of people are like, Tyrone Mings is coming in. Okay, yeah, Harry Maguire's out. Yeah. But Harry Maguire, did he put a foot wrong? Really?
Not that I can remember Harry Maguire. No, I don't think so.
No, he brought the ball out so well.
His passing was great.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. And Stones as well. Like, for what people, I think, perceived to be our weakest area, the ball playing, maybe overplaying centre-back of Stones, and Maguire being a bit slow and a bit cumbersome. I thought they were both magnificent.
I mean, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, both had good tournaments. Declan Rice yesterday was superb until he ran out a bit of steam. I think, loads of positives. Maguire and Stones turning into a quality partnership is in the chat as well. I think a massive positive to take is the fact that I was thinking about this yesterday and I was chatting to some friends about it, and it's like, you look at this squad and this whole squad can go to the next tournament. The only person missing out would be probably Henderson due to age, Jordan Henderson.
He would be definitely out for me. He came on, he's like he's running to a treacle.
I noticed he's got a really wide turning circle when he's trying to chase the ball. It's really bizarre to watch. But I think Jordan Henderson, when he came on against Denmark, was actually he did well against Denmark when he came on. But looking at the squad, it was sort of a reflection to think, that we could do something very good at Qatar. If this squad can all turn up, all perform, and then sprinkle it in with maybe a Mason Greenwood if he has a good couple of seasons or a season and a half, and then Ollie Skip could be the next big thing to come through.
That's where I'm at. I'm at is we do, as much as Phillips and Rice had excellent tournaments, having both of those in midfield, you just saw the difference between Italy bossing the ball, and it just tired us out. And you got Verratti, Barella, Jorginho, obviously experts in the field there. Just lack that someone pronounced on the ball and just be able to dictate play. And you can't just have one of them. You need a few, because as soon as that one person goes out, your style of play changes.
I think in a year and a half's time in Qatar, that could be or a year. When is it? Yeah, a year and a half, isn't it? It's next, not 18 months. That could be Jude Bellingham as our main player that does that. Like another year and a half under his belt, he will be playing in the international friendlies and Nations League and stuff like that. I think it's good. I think he could grow into that sort of player. But you're right, you need someone else for when they're injured that can come in and step in. I've got to ask you, what was your take on Southgate in the final? He's been quite good at man management and the team management. And
Well, I thought obviously the lineup I think worked well. First
Yeah,
half worked
yeah,
well.
agree.
Having the 3-4-3 it kind of worked out, and the wide players did cause trouble. I just think whether it's a Southgate issue, whether it was a mentality of the players that basically went back into themselves. The goal didn't really seem to help us. For me, it should have been right. Play as normal, go for it. You've got the buffer of a goal, and where it seemed like they were like, we've got the goal, we're sitting back, and we end up being a back five, and then therefore the two were completely isolated, and in midfield, and so starting line I think went well, but didn't adapt, didn't change it. He continued the theme he did with substitutions against Denmark, but left it very late. And in hindsight, and even at the time, I think you bring them on too late to change the game, really, and even to even get comfortable. And you see it now with Rashford and Sancho coming on. Rashford coming on at right back, Sancho coming on at right mid, and I'm not sure even past the ball.
They touched it twice. Their penalties were their third touch in the game. And that included a throw-in for Rashford.
Got blocking on the fullback and had a throw.
That was Rashford's 2 touches, yeah.
And that is Rashford had a very.
He's been injured, isn't he? He didn't have a tournament. He didn't really do anything in the tournament, and he shouldn't. That's another one. Like, if you're going to use him like that, it's because he's not fit. So if he's not fit, why not take a Mason Greenwood? There's probably other people that could have been picked ahead of Mason Greenwood. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Greenwood was
exactly, yeah. But it's just there's a lot of that. The subs really irked me because it annoyed me at the Denmark game. Not bringing the subs on at the beginning of extra time annoyed me in the Denmark game, and I thought, there's no way he hasn't learned. There's no way he's going to do the same thing. And the minutes went by, and then Henderson, who had been subbed on, came off. Rashford and Sancho came on, and then my heart sinks because you're like, they've been brought on to take a penalty. I don't want that pressure. Bring me on with 15 minutes to go in extra time.
Yeah, I'm not a special team player. I'm a great player in my own right. Let me show that, and then I give me a chance during the game, and then I'll take a penalty. But don't just bring me on for a penalty. No, I don't quite like that.
4 of the penalties that were missed between England and Italy, 4 of them that were missed by players that came on in extra time. Yeah. Okay. So two for Italy. The 2 players that came on for Italy missed theirs, and Rashford and Sancho missed ours, and they came on at extra time, and then Saka unfortunately missed as well. But a couple of questions. I'll get shouted down, but would a fit on form Dele Alli make a difference? Probably, but he hasn't been on form to get in the squad. I would take him over Henderson. I'll take a fit on form Dele Alli over Henderson.
Yeah, I mean, Dele Alli is within his gift to get to the top.
It is.
It's definitely within his gift to be there. I would say that I don't, because Mason Mount played because of his defensive effort.
Yeah.
Right. He's in that role because of his attacking wise. He offered almost nothing. And you think, okay, well, bring him off, bring on a Sancho, Grealish. They're not going to come on while the game's that close because he wanted defensive effort from him. So, Dele Alli would be exactly the same. But but you've got other players who can come into that. Eze, for example, injured. That's another player you can kind of think coming in. But I think my overriding feeling of it all is we were very defensive, and I'm not wanting us to be very attacking. It's similar to how I feel of Spurs under Jose Mourinho. It's like you're not giving our attack the best chance.
Yeah.
I can't help but think that Kane's going to be really, really. One, as a striker, I always would be annoyed if I never have a shot in a game. He's played 120 minutes for Italy. He's not. I don't think he had a shot. We had 2 shots. We had 2 shots on target.
We had 6 shots on goal, 2 on target. So.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, one of those on target. What's the other one on target? Oh, was it maybe the Stones header?
That might have been classed. It was saved. Yeah. So.
We didn't. For me, he's our best player. Therefore, but we didn't. We don't facilitate play towards him. I mean, it's not like we didn't do well, but I think we can progress towards that to actually kind of highlighting his assets.
Yeah, I think
and,
the first 20, 25 minutes maybe showed how we could use Kane differently, where he dropped a bit deeper and the runners got on beyond him, and then he spread the pass to Trippier that put the cross in for Luke Shaw to score as well.
Yeah, we did it again.
And then he did it again.
As well.
But was it just we came up against a very good Italy team with two very experienced defenders who knew how to change their game to sort out Kane. Like second half, you immediately saw, I think it was Bonucci step up on Kane when he drifted up out of the striker position into more of a number 9, and then Jorginho dropped in next to Chiellini, and it was just like, crap, we're done now. And then Kane was just sort of using up energy to try and get into space that then didn't work and knacking himself out.
And then we obviously regressed and we're nowhere near. No one was anywhere near Kane. And I got to praise Mancini this. So the subs that Italy made, all of their front three taken out, 2 of their centre mids taken out, and they probably they maintain their back line really. Apart from I think Emerson came off, didn't he? But I mean, imagine if Kane and Sterling would come off. He hasn't.
Again, this was another thing.
Chiesa was forced into it.
This was another thing that was raised when I was chatting with someone this morning about it. Was why do England always seem to create at least one person in every squad who is just unsubbable? Whether Rooney, Beckham, Kane, Sterling. Sterling should have come. If Sterling isn't taking a penalty, take him off because he was knackered. He could not run anymore. Bring Sancho on. I don't care if he's not as defensive, but Sterling was struggling to get back to help defend and then get back up the pitch again. Like
you could see Sterling would wait and wait and wait. Go, my pace is going to get me back in here. But I felt it before, obviously to know it. But you know it when you're like, I can't run with them, but I'm going to try and have to sprint and catch them up at this point rather than running with them at the time. Yeah, no, I agree. It did seem like we were just. Because when people were like, we need to bring Grealish on, we need to bring this, like, you're not taking Kane off, and he's probably now not taking Sterling off.
Exactly. Would you have taken Kane off?
Then you left
with how knackered he looked into the second half. I think once it gets to extra time, I think you can't because you're always worried about penalties, and he's always going to take a penalty.
Yeah.
But should you... I guess the question I'm actually asking you is, did it look like we were playing for penalties when it got?
I don't think so. I think it just all caught up with us and chasing the ball around for it. Because first half, for example, first half was very good. Played very well, and then it was just kind of Italy started turning the screw of it, didn't it? They were just kind of dominating the ball. But I mean, I think Immobile had a very poor tournament overall. Was nothingness. Insigne had a couple of free kicks, which was. Okay, Chiesa was the guy, and I remember his dad more. Said more about he's just so powerful, and he had that rasping shot past the post, but he looked formidable. But we kind of coped. It was okay. It ended on a little bit of a kind of like, okay, we need to change up a bit, but it didn't really. Just continue. We doubled down, didn't we? We didn't mix it up. We went more of the same. And only really then did it change when Chiesa went off injured.
Yeah, I think there was 2 things that changed it. I think when Italy subbed off Immobile and they went without they did a sort of Spain and went without a recognised striker because they brought a winger on. Can't remember who they brought on to replace Berardi. And they sort of played with a very floating, fluid front 3. Which got them back into the got basically one in the corner.
Yeah, that's when Insigne was coming off the back 2,
and they scored. And then they brought on Belotti and went back to a traditional number 10 up front, a big sort of target man to try and hit and run in behind and things like that. And then we looked more comfortable because Chiesa got injured as well. Obviously, that was a big turning point. But I just we just didn't. We lacked that fluidity that we've sort of had throughout the tournament. That what Italy showed to be able to change things up and mix it around a little bit and get different players running on the ball. And I don't know, the tactics seem to be. You're right. When we scored, drop to a back 5 and then just look for Sterling, look for Kane to flick it onto Sterling, which is something we've not done all tournament. And it was like just a bit strange. Yeah, it was really a bit strange. Got a couple of comments again that I just want to catch up with. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. Kyle has just written the Ward-Prowse omission. How do you feel? I feel Ward-Prowse would have made a difference. I said I would have put him in my squad for set pieces, free kicks, corners. I think you got Stones, you got Maguire. got Kane, you got Declan Rice. They're all big people.
Yeah, you look at it yesterday. There's a lot of balls being put in the box, which Donnarumma just lapped up. He's never getting near those Ward-Prowse ones because they are whipped in. And you do. I think for me, I always like having that kind of specialist in a squad because it's something different to bring on rather than more of the same. It's something unique. That's why it was centre forwards. Like, although not utilised at all, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is incredible in the air. Him and Kane are similar heights, but the leap on Calvert-Lewin and is something different, and I like that variability. So yeah, I think that. I mean, who didn't play in the end? So we had
Ben White didn't play. Did Chilwell play? Yeah, he played because. No, because Trippier played left back, didn't he? When Shaw was rested. Yeah.
Chilwell, White, and Cody. I think will be the only one.
Yeah.
Play.
And I guess he's taken Ben White, and or Cody, in case Maguire's injury flares up again, probably just to give him that cover. Yeah. You could argue that was too many centre backs to take, but I don't know. Maybe it shows the shape of what we should have been expecting to be a bit of defensive stuff. A very interesting question is: should there have been a red card for Jorginho for the challenge on Grealish? I said yes.
I was going to mention it when I spoke about earlier about the leniency of the refs. I think Premier League.
I think Premier League is gone. I think if that's an Englishman putting that tackle in, he's gone. I think if that's a John Stones or a Calvin Phillips putting that tackle in and it goes over the ball studs into a leg of an Italian, the Englishman gets sent off.
And partly the reason why, because the English player wouldn't have gone down injured.
Yeah.
Jorginho went down holding himself, knowing full well he's not injured at all, but it makes it seem like it was a coming together, and there's a little issue there. It's accidental. It's all just it's a 50-50. It's a little bit harsh because his foot rolls off the ball, but his foot is a little bit high. I don't think if he got red, I'd have thought if it's orange, really, I think it's a hard yellow. Yeah. But I'm not sure.
It's the classic. I've seen them given.
I've seen them given.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you asked me, what are your thoughts on the tournament as a whole and England's overall tournament? It's hard with the recency biased of losing a final, but the overall tournament, what do you think?
Overall tournament has been positive. It's floated around the mediocre. Okay. Or can just do it enough, okay. Isn't it? It's like it's never going to be done. It's taken me a long while in my life to realise that international football is very different from club football. You're playing a league season. You can be cut and thrust with it, and it's very different. Approaching in a very different way. We're never going to be a barnstorm inside, ripping through sides. So 1-0 wins, 0-0s, 1-0 win for group. Take it. But it's about getting those results. And I mean, my overriding highlight is just how Gareth Southgate conducts himself. Fantastic. And I think the players have done themselves proud overall. How they've behaved. We haven't had silly tabloid stories about them and issues, and it's been really good. And it's been nice to be at Wembley as well. Seeing that, obviously a little bit rubbish yesterday with some fan behaviour, but I think it's been a really, really good tournament for us, and we benefited from it being a year late.
100%. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, massively. And I think I think Italy have probably benefited from being a year late as well. I think they gave them a good squad selection to go through. I mean, I know I'm sort of jumping around topics here, but it's just talking of Italy. 33 games unbeaten, 13 straight wins, including penalty shootouts and extra time. That's Mancini's got to get. It surely goes to a club job now, or do you reckon he takes them to the World Cup and thinking they can win it?
I think he takes them to the World Cup. Okay. Yeah.
So
all the big jobs in Italy are sewn up now. They've all had the shift around, haven't they?
Yeah. True.
I mean, I'd love them at Spurs, but hey-ho.
So, okay, who doesn't make your next squad for Qatar? If Qatar is in a month's time for August. No, yeah, we'll go 18 months. We'll go. The season's been done and dusted. Everyone came through unscathed, no injuries. Man City win the league. Man United came second. Tottenham third. Liverpool fourth. Arsenal fifth. Chelsea sixth. Whatever. Everyone's had stellar seasons, played to the top of their game. Who doesn't make your squad for Qatar?
Let's look at it from a different perspective. What do I want from the squads going forward? Like the players in this squad. Let's just put up the squad so I've got it fresh to mind.
So jumping to mind, Jordan Henderson, Kyle Walker, and Kieran Trippier are probably the ones that are pushing towards now their end of their career rather than the midpoint.
Yeah, so you've got goalkeepers. You've got Pickford, Henderson, and Sam Johnston. You'd hope that. Oh no, then it will change with Ramsdale.
It changed with Ramsdale. Henderson out, Ramsdale in. Yeah.
So you'd hope that. I mean, I think hope would be that, and not that he's done bad. He's done excellent. Pickford is, but more competition from Henderson would be good. I'd take that. A little bit of times with Pickford being kind of a little bit ropey with his kicking when in the previous 2 games to this, but. You can. I mean, if you're kind of splitting hairs, the Damsgaard free kick could have done better. I mean, if I'm really splitting hairs, I felt like if only he could have turned around the post for Bonucci's goal, but that was an excellent save onto the post. But I think Henderson would be nice if he can provide some competition there. And I'm not sure if third choice is always a bit of a rogue one, isn't it, in terms of goalkeepers?
Nick Pope potentially could come back. You never know.
Yeah, so, Nick Pope might move on from Burnley. He was talking about him moving on from Burnley if he gets a different style of play and a different manager to work under. So then we've got Kyle Walker. Yeah, Kyle Walker's 31. He'll be 32 at the next tournament. I mean, he's physically one of the most impressive players I think I've ever seen. Like, he's 31 and he's just tearing it up. And so I wouldn't put it past him to still be going, but there's so many options. You've got Reece James didn't really get any play, and you got obviously Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I think Trent probably sees. And I could name probably 3-4 others who might make a name for themselves at right back. So you're probably seeing something different. Left back, why do you think Ben Chilwell didn't get? Is it purely because of Luke Shaw's play, or is it the COVID breach?
It's an interesting one. I think he would have played if it wasn't for both of those things. Luke Shaw's form was absolutely incredible. He was undroppable, Luke Shaw, I think. And the COVID thing wouldn't have helped either. But you can't. Southgate, I don't think Southgate would use that because he brought Mason Mount back in. So I don't think Southgate would use one rule for one rule for another. I think it was purely because Luke Shaw was so good. Like, so good. I was surprised to see quite a few games where Chilwell didn't even make the squad. I think that was more of the surprising. I think two definitely jumped to mind where he didn't make the squad. Maybe 3 because one of them was missed through COVID as the COVID thing. So, and that always worried me because that always showed that his backup was always Trippier at left back, which is I don't understand when you have a specialised left back or Saka that could play at left back if you really need him to. So I've never really understood that, but. Yeah, I'm not sure. Luke Shaw was just immense, absolutely immense. But I don't think it's the end for Chilwell for England. I think.
No, absolutely. I mean, Luke Shaw he's going to be. Luke Shaw's birthday today. Happy birthday, Luke Shaw!
Great goal.
And I imagine he wished it went slightly different. And then so he's 26 today, so he's perfect timing from him. Centre backs. Obviously, I think you'd hope Stones and Maguire would be, there's 27, 28, they can, be there for Qatar, no problem. I just would like other people to kind of come on board.
I think Ben White will. Develop. I think Ben White's got some, he'll develop a little bit more. I think if he gets this move to Arsenal, it will be a good move. I feel like it's all going to be centre-back. You sort of want Stones and Maguire to stay there so that they are the Chiellini and Bonucci, for England. But you just never know. You never know with the English team, the English press, how someone reacts. Someone gets a bad injury. I don't know. I see Ben White coming in quite well. I think Tyrone Mings will always be around the squad. I'd never think he'll be a starter for England.
Because you look at it, really, it's only this season is going to make a real because it's half, because obviously it was a month long, so probably November time does Qatar World Cup start.
Yeah. So,
which is good in terms for England, I think. In terms of, I think it's a World Cup which is going to get players when they're at their fittest. Unfortunately, it's a World Cup when they're also, I don't know how, we don't quite know how the conditions are going to be. We're talking like air-conditioned stadiums and things like that. But rather than the end of a long season, it's going to be the league season which is impacted by the World Cup rather than vice versa. So it's this season becoming the 21-22 season where you're really going to, players are going to cement themselves in the international squads, because obviously I think Southgate is quite keen on settled squads as well.
He is, and I think that's a big thing to remember, that the settled squad will be a huge part of Southgate's thinking, and Southgate probably does have his favourites that he likes to Mason Mount will probably still be there. I mean, let's carry on going through the squad. Yeah, that's probably a good way to do it.
So we've got Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips. You could definitely see them being in future squads. You got Jordan Henderson, centre midfield. We've spoken. He's now 30. It's not beyond realms of possibility he would still be in there, but he looks one of the more likely because they've just got other players coming through. I'm not sure he adds, apart from the experience he adds. Obviously, won titles, won Champions Leagues. He's replaceable in terms of his actual on the field play. You got what then? Jack Grealish was a funny one this tournament. I think it's more.
Why was he so popular with the fans?
Myth of Jack Grealish. Because he's so sexy, though.
Because he's different. Dribbles on the ball, wins fouls.
Yeah. I think so. But he flattered to see, really, didn't he? It's the way we play isn't set up for Jack Grealish to do much.
It's either set up for him to not do much, or we have to set up to be the focal point around him to get the best out of him, which won't happen when you've got Harry Kane.
Well, you could Harry Kane. You could do a Kane and Grealish work incredibly well together. It could have been, we're going to make this with another one, but it's just that defensive attitude that you want him to keep it all confined. But Jack Grealish, I mean, he had his breakout season was last year. Still rumour of him going to Man City. If he goes to Man City, I'd say in today's fit he's almost nailed on for future squads. But he'll be 20. He's a little bit. He'll be 26 in this season in September. Sancho obviously just got his big move to United. You imagine it's only going to get better and better from here.
I think so. I think Sancho will still be in there. I would like to. That's another one I'd like to have seen more of, I think. Sancho.
Yeah, I agree.
That's another one. I don't understand why he wasn't. We've spoken before about the lack of maybe defensive work he does, but I would have liked to have seen him play against Italy to give Italy a problem to think about, rather than it's always us thinking about how are we going to defend, especially when they lost Spinazzola and Emerson was in, and then Emerson went off, and they were playing with where they didn't have both starting fullbacks they would have liked. I was like, let's go and attack them. Let's get out there, give Sancho a run. Don't start him. I understand not starting him, but get him on for fresh legs and pace. But anyway, I think he'll be decent and in the squad.
Same with Foden as well. But I think Sancho and Foden, the two 21-year-olds in Manchester, formerly would have been teammates, wouldn't they, in the youth setup? You want more of the same, big seasons, and really, it's a bit of a shame for Foden overall, wasn't it? Didn't quite work out from this tournament. No goals or assists, I don't think, was it? He was dropped at keep. Was he injured for anything? He obviously injured for the final. Was he injured during as well? Wasn't he? Missed out.
I can't remember. It's another one I was expecting a bit more of from Foden. I was expecting.
I know. The news yesterday that if you told me we got through to the final and Foden's injured, I'd be like, oh, man, that's a loss. But because of the way we set up, I think the attacking players weren't given that given that license. Therefore, it's kind of there's going to be few chances overall. Bukayo Saka is a funny one.
Okay, go on then.
He's definitely a good player. He glides past players with ease and his touches. He never seemed in sync with any of the other players. It always seemed to, I know, a pass went awry, or he's run himself into a blind alley, and therefore he can't play the ball through. I'm not 100% convinced. By then, that could just be age and experience of the squad, because he might not play with players for a while. But
it's a really interesting one because Saka is new to the squad, isn't he? He's like,
yeah, he's got a handful of caps.
I feel like his inclusion was merited. I feel like he was talented.
Yeah, absolutely,
he did really well. When you say he sort of ran down blind alleys and cul-de-sacs, it's very strange because I feel like he did that less than Sterling did. Sterling got the goals, don't get me wrong. But Sterling I found very frustrating in the sense that he kept... There's times where he should have passed, and then he passed when he shouldn't have passed, and his decision-making wasn't the best. I just feel like...
there is a similarity there. Sterling, Sterling felt like... I think the more it went on, Sterling felt that he was the main man, and felt like he's going to be the one to do this.
Yeah. I think that's right, yeah.
And rather than having intricate players, like, you know what, I've won a penalty in the last match, I can run through and get something here. I think both are similar. I think Bukayo Saka's inclusion and being brought on is also a benefit, and that's a testament to his ability as well. But that defensive aspect of his game, having played in defence and played at wing back, full back, I think he's trusted more in an attacking position because he has that defensive ability with him. I don't think many people would disagree that probably Foden and Sancho and Grealish probably better going forwards.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
But I think Saka has that defensive. I'm not sure. I've yet to see the strong defensive work in England shirt. But he has that history of having that good defensive ability.
Do you not think with the performance? This is the only annoyance I have with Southgate, is that second annoyance. The first one is the lack of subs, and I don't want to unpick it because he obviously has been very good for England. He's got us to a semi-final of a World Cup and a final in the Euros, and he's as you said, his conduct on and off the pitch has been fantastic. But 2 centre backs, 2 holding midfielders, or 3 centre backs and 2 holding midfielders. If you're always playing 2 sort of holding midfielders in Rice and Calvin Phillips, does that not give you freedom then for allowing more players like Foden, Grealish, Sancho with Kane and Mount, and not worrying and picking people just because they do the doggy defensive work as well? Like,
especially in one-off games, because over a whole season, you don't want your Fodens to be tracking back all the time, but in that one-off game, a player of that level can go, for 90 minutes I can do what you need me to do, and I will track back for it. So it's just a little bit disappointing overall, isn't it? So who have we still got? We got Saka, Bellingham. Man, Bellingham, that was exciting. 17-year-old. He's hopefully only going to go from strength to strength. It'd be interesting to see who he comes back to, because you imagine there's going to be a Premier League return. Sancho's gone and spent 2-3 seasons there.
3 seasons, I think. Yeah.
Bellingham will come back. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a similar path, but maybe to Man City this time. Obviously, Sancho couldn't really have a Man City return.
Chelsea's the rumour at the moment, by the way. It's Jorginho out and Bellingham in, and Jorginho will do no harm to adding a few zeros onto his transfer fee if it does go through. But I feel like Bellingham's if he carries on progressing the way he is, then he's going to be brilliant, hopefully. So
next on my list is Harry Kane. It's a foregone conclusion he'll be in there.
It's just always, as always with Harry Kane, it's his ankles. Hopefully and I'm not saying it's the injury proneness of his ankles. It's the timing of it. If he gets an injury just before a major tournament, because there's always a worry when he goes down holding his ankle. There's always a bit of me that's like, that's a bad one. That's a bad one. Like that he's out.
You and me both. You and me both. Yeah, I am concerned now just how much he's played a lot of it. A number of his players played a lot of minutes, haven't they? And Kane obviously played a lot of minutes for Spurs. I feel like it could spell trouble for Spurs. Start of the season, maybe not being in. We actually have no backup.
Yeah.
Even if you do get a backup, he's brand new to the club. I feel, and new manager, first game being Man City. I fear that it may be a tough start to the season because you've got to give Kane a rest. You've just got.
Yeah.
It'll pay dividends in the long run. You don't want him to break in, halfway through the season. Much rather do without him for the first, 3-4 games or something, or fleetingly.
Yeah. Well,
next
if Harry Kane's fit and healthy and everything's going all right in the season, and even if it's not going all right in his season, he probably still leads the line for England. Yeah. So is there a threat from Dominic Calvert-Lewin, potentially Mason Greenwood? Marcus Rashford could come back in. Is there a threat to Kane's starting position for England if he doesn't have the best of seasons, or do you think he can score 2 next season and he's still going to be leading the line?
There's no threat to being in the squad.
Yeah.
Never. And it's just not going to happen, is it, Dave? It's just
no.
I just can't see it. I mean, I'm looking through. So the last 3 players: Sterling, Rashford, Calvert-Lewin. So shockingly, did not realise this. Calvert-Lewin's actually older than Marcus Rashford.
No, I thought they were the same age. I thought they would have put a similar age. I think so. Yeah, Dominic Calvert. Yeah,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he obviously had a good breakout season under Ancelotti. Is it going to be the same for him under Benitez?
I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will do well at Everton again. I feel that Dominic Calvert-Lewin for England, especially in this tournament, we went behind once in the whole tournament, and that was to Denmark. And it was so early on that Southgate was never going to throw on another striker to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that was Dominic Calvert-Lewin's job, wasn't it? It was, if we're behind with 15 minutes to go, shove him up front with Harry Kane and 4-4-2. More than likely would have been our formation, or an injury to Harry Kane. And I feel like it's very hard to judge if we've seen what Dominic Calvert-Lewin can actually do for England, because he scored in a friendly. And you're right, it was all based off that really good breakout season under Ancelotti. Pretty much nothing really too much else happening there. Will he react well to Benitez? He's going to be under threat. I think Mason Greenwood's going to have a really good season next year. I think Mason Greenwood will make the Qatar squad unless something bad happens, because he's just that natural goal scorer.
Talk to me about United then. So obviously Sancho joined. You mentioned Greenwood, and my next person I want to mention is Rashford. Are they all fitting in that front?
I think you see a lot more rotation, and I think you see Edison Cavani start the season as our main striker, but not necessarily end it. I think next season we'll end with a front 3 of Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, and Greenwood through the middle at United. And Cavani, he got another 1-year contract extension. I think that'll be that, unless we're really desperate for so no one from the youth team stepping up and to help out Greenwood and that. And you've got Martial in there as well. I think we'd probably sell Martial if we get a good offer.
Can you think there's a bet early in the season to be scoring
17 goals this season? I could probably even change that to this calendar year, and he'd be nowhere near it. I could probably change it to next calendar year, and he'll be nowhere near it. But yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I think it will start with Greenwood, Rashford, Sancho, Martial, all sort of rotating with Cavani out and out centre forward, and then Cavani will drop off a little bit in the second half, and you'll just see Sancho, Rashford, and Greenwood a little bit more. And that's one of those things, Josh, which is why I asked the question about Harry Kane, because if we end before Qatar, if we go into that with Man United, let's say hypothetically top of the league, outscoring everyone, and their front 3 is Rashford, Sancho and Greenwood, who are all clicking, would you not then pick that for England, knowing that they've played with each other for 6 months before?
I'd be happy to play that. Based on our current playing style, there's no way that that level of 3 is being included.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd also have Maguire and in theory and Shaw. Wan-Bissaka's not mentioned, but mentioned.
Yeah.
And
he should be.
Henderson in goal. I do like. United seem to have just finally stumbled upon a transfer policy which is finally working and actually constructing what is shaping up to be a very nice squad.
Brexit FC. Yeah.
Yeah. Jude Bellingham?
I'll take it. So I would 100% take it. Yeah, bring him in. Why not? So we've gone through the squad. A question I've been sort of dying to ask you. Would you rather lose 2-1 in 90 minutes and say we lost 2-1 but we gave it a go, or lose on penalties and be like, yeah, but we took them all the way to penalties in a final? Or is it all about the style? Is it a style of play, or is it?
Honestly, I would have taken boring 1-0 win. I would have happily Jose Mourinho'd my way to this. I would rather not gone to penalties because it perpetuates the fear of penalties.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So would you go for it?
And I don't think they are bound by that. I don't think they are bound by what previous generations have achieved. I think it's just one of the most stressful and pressurised situations ever.
Oh yeah, I agree. And obviously they're young, people.
Ever.
They're young people that are doing this, and it's like
they are young people, and there's pressure of playing a game. Absolutely, there is. They would have been like the first 11 chosen would have been nervous, but this is so lonely and so solo. And people say, "Oh, brain surgeons really pressurised." Yeah, that is one person's life in your hand and their family. There is a difference between that, and I'm not saying that's not important, but there's also the knowledge. There are millions of people watching you, wanting you to achieve that, and hoping you do that. It's maybe because I'm just a football fan. I think it's probably the most pressurised situation.
Yeah. Putt to win the Masters on the last round, going on to the 18th.
No.
Yeah, I think the global.
Because you're putting and you're repeating a transaction. If there was no one in that goal and you had had to kick it in from halfway line, there would be something different now. I think the fact that it's 1-on-1.
Yeah, okay. It's 1-on-1 and heavily stacked in your favour.
Yes.
So
yeah. So talk about penalties then.
Yeah. If we have to.
Two excellent penalties. The
Harry Maguire breaking the fucking GoPro. Excuse my language, but what a penalty that was. Who saw that coming? Unbelievable. Oh
yeah, as soon as he stepped up, I wasn't happy, but I was very happy after he'd scored it. Southgate's obviously come out and said that he decides to penalty takers. I think he's done that as I'm protecting you.
Agree.
I can't imagine he's done that. You've had Roy Keane come out and said that people, the older lads shouldn't have let the younger ones take it. I disagree with that. I think you're on that pitch, you're on that team by merit. If you put your name forward, you put your name forward. No one. I don't think there's no one. Sterling's probably not going, "Come on, Saka, you do it. Yeah. I'm not doing it." It was for him to step up, and he's incredibly brave to step up and take it, and as were all of them. So I think as soon as you're on that pitch, it's fair game. I want people who want to take a penalty rather than people you think should take a penalty.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone.
It's not.
It's not. At that point, it's not technical.
No, and I feel like.
Well, it is technical, but it's not the most overriding aspect of it.
And when people say like, "Oh, Sterling should have stepped up," I'm like, well, we've seen his composure in front of goal if he has to think about an opportunity, and he was very clearly knackered at the end of that game. I don't want him anywhere near a penalty. I don't. Grealish came on as a sub, a good technical player. He's got the composure, but he clearly, if you don't fancy it, you don't fancy it. You volunteer to take one, you step up. The only thing I might argue with is the order that they were there. Saka being the fifth, I think, is a very strange choice, because the fifth penalty, arguably Italy put their best penalty taker at number 4, because the number 4 penalty is the one that normally decides. I think in penalty shootouts, if there's been one save before the 4th penalty for the first team.
Well, Jorginho was 5th, wasn't he?
He was 5th. Yeah, sorry. Jorginho was 5th. Who did they put 4th? Bonucci? Can't remember. But
No.
Yeah, there's a stat out there that says something like if you're the team going first, fourth is the guy that is normally who has the chance to win it. I just think Saka going. I'm happy if he wants to take one, and you're right. If he's in the squad in merit, which means he's a good enough footballer, and if he wants to take one, put him in. Not fifth though, as a 19-year-old breakout star.
It's funny, isn't it? Because it might never get to fifth.
It might not.
So I don't want Harry Kane. I don't want Harry Kane on fifth.
No.
And when we mentioned James Ward-Prowse earlier, I'd forgotten about his penalty-taking ability as well. He's an excellent penalty taker as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I would have gone Rashford first if you've brought him on to take a penalty. Let him go first. Just let him smash it. I would have probably Harry Maguire second. Don't change that. That's a wonderful penalty. I was about Harry Kane third because I think that's a big deciding penalty, and then potentially Saka fourth and Sancho fifth, or move them around a little bit. Move Saka to be first and Rashford fourth or something, but. I didn't agree with the Saka to be fifth because it's such a. If it gets that far, it's a pressure penalty.
It can be the most pressurised situation. Yeah, so. I have no blame attached to anyone doing it. Unfortunately, though, it'll be forever remembered. Yeah. I remember pretty much all the missed penalties, but well done for stepping forward and well done, Jordan Pickford.
Did this put an end to the whole Jordan Pickford being? T-Rex arms and stuff like that, because that save for Jorginho was a bloody good save on that penalty to get down low like that. You said he was at fault for probably the Denmark free kick. He probably was, but he's a good goalkeeper, and he's proven that this tournament, albeit a bit rash and albeit with a very bad haircut. He's
very bad haircut. We can't understate how bad.
Yeah, my friend Paul was like. It was like you could put him on a black and white poster and it'll be like an advert from the war. I was like, that is so true. Yeah. Like he looks like he's about to go to war if you put him in black and white. But I don't want him to go back to Everton and capitulate or play for Everton like he has normally. Why can't he take his England form to Everton? It would be great to see it like that. But yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just there's a lot more games in the league season. Unfortunately. So. That's why you don't sign players on the back of a tournament, because they are well up for it. It's a handful of games, and unfortunately, you revert to your norm over a league season.
True. So you don't sign players on the back of international tournaments. If you could sign one player from this international tournament for Spurs, realistically, who would it be?
Oh, that's a nice question, Dave. In current.
While you're having a quick think, have a little think, and I'll say very quickly to the chat that I can't see anything that you're posting because my internet, strangely, has run out of bandwidth enough for me to just keep this call going with Josh and for my wife to have her call on work. So the rest of my internet seems to have died, but everything else is working. The stream is still going according to OBS, but my Google Chrome is just died, so I can't see what the chat's saying. So, yeah, apologies if you've put questions in there. But Josh, who would you sign on the back of this tournament for Spurs?
I would sign one or the other, Chiellini or Bonucci. Our defence is absolutely ropey as anything. You sign a stellar centre back like that to hold it together, and I think I'd go for one of those. My other thought was that I'm listing Italians. I'd take pretty much any Italian there. I'd take. Pretty much any of that stuff, apart from right back, probably any of those starting Italians.
Okay. Well,
but Donnarumma had a. Do you know what I hoped this was going to come back, and I'd be like, do you know what I've done? I messaged on Instagram Harry Kane, a few days ago, and I hoped he'd see it, and didn't. I don't think he read it. But Donnarumma's positioning is so aggressive. Right. He is so far out of his box all the time, and I said to him, "Hey, lob him," or something. So I basically alluded to.
Hey, Harry, just so you don't know, lob him.
Check out. Yeah. But he's so big.
So big. 1.96 meters. He is. I don't know.
Yeah, that's 6'5".
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, he's just formidable. Yeah. And what a free transfer. But I mean, I've obviously paid an extortionate amount of agency fees, but Paris Saint-Germain Paris Saint-Germain are all on to win the Champions League this year.
Yeah.
You've got Sergio Ramos, you've got Hakimi, you've got Donnarumma, you've got Wijnaldum as well.
Yeah, Wijnaldum, Mbappe, Neymar, Di Maria, the people that are still there that they haven't sold. Ridiculous. Such a good squad. Such a good squad that Euro-winning Verratti can't get in it.
Euro-winning Verratti, yeah. Good. So who would you sign, Dave?
I was quite impressed, and not just because he scored past England, but Damsgaard for Denmark. I thought had a good tournament.
Spurs were linked with it last
Really?
year.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know too much about him. I thought he had a good tournament. I did beat the drum a bit for Forsberg as well from Sweden.
Forsberg. Spinazzola would have been on everybody's list before he ruptured his Achilles.
Spinazzola definitely would have been on the list. It's an interesting one. Who would I, let me have a little quick rack of the head and think who would I sign for United. I'm trying to think of a standout. Declan Rice.
I thought it was what
we need a holding midfielder.
Do you know what? After I'm a Declan Rice convert. I was in the hairdressers probably just before the tournament started, and my hairdresser went, "There's only 3 world-class England players, and one of them, his name was Declan Rice." And I had to stifle my laughter when he wasn't even a West Ham fan, which is strange. And I was like, but I'm not saying it was world-class, but pretty blooming good.
Yeah, it was very good. Again, that first half just ran out a bit of steam in the second half, but yeah, it was good. I'd probably go maybe Damsgaard, but I don't think United need another player like that. But I think
Joachim Mahler, the Danish left back, or right-footed
left back. Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. Again, we've got Luke Shaw at left back though. I'm trying to think. It's interesting. A follow-up question for your Bonucci Chiellini. I would sign one of them. Can they work without each other?
I'd play without each other.
Yeah. They're right now.
It would be a hell of a come down for Chiellini to line up with Davinson Sanchez or with Eric Dyer.
Yeah. So, it's interesting. Yeah, they've gone on holiday together now, haven't they? That. I don't know if you had the same commentary as us, but they were saying that Chiellini and Bonucci are such good friends that they're going on holiday 2 days after the Euros finishes, and with their wives and partners and kids.
I saw them in bed together with the trophy, and they had signed shirts, and I wasn't sure if everyone had a signed shirt, like gold signatures of all the players. Are they potentially retiring from international football?
Yeah, they probably could be. Yeah, they probably could be.
So I don't think Chiellini. I think Chiellini is going to resign for another season with Juve. So that wouldn't obviously take him to the World Cup.
True. Yeah, very true. That's a big loss.
But they've got centre backs. They got Serbi came in. They got Bastoni. I don't think Bastoni even played a game. But
is Barzagli still there? Barzagli?
No,
is he long gone? Is he?
Yeah, I think he was robust, wasn't he? He was
Regani, he's another one, youngster, 24 years old, 23, 24. Regani, currently playing back up to them at Juventus, I think, with De Ligt and all the other players they've got. So, yeah, okay. Is there anyone from Tottenham that you think had a good tournament other than the likes of Harry Kane? Was there anyone else there from?
Højbjerg had a very good tournament for Denmark.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Other than that, no, we didn't have overly. We didn't have too many involved, which I think is because we talk about the start of the season. We've got Chelsea and Man City. I think had 14 and 15 players involved. 2 of the 3 you'd probably go for title glory. Jorginho obviously had been a key element of that side. Yeah, after a major championship, we can predict slow starts to the season, I think.
Okay. Interesting. Fair enough. Right. Well, we will end it there unless you've got any other business. So.
No, I've got
no. Josh doesn't, but I have been given the statement to read. So it does bring an end to the podcast, and it's not just this episode, it is the podcast as we know it. It's been wonderful taking our time talking about all things football over the last 3 years with you all in the comments, in the live chat, on Twitter. And a big thank you to everybody that's listened. A big thank you to Josh as well for doing this with me. And interacted for everything, but it's not the end. It's just time for a change. So we're going to be moving away from what we're doing, and we've got a new project coming in the pipeline. We're going to have a little bit of a break to talk it through, finalise it, get everything up and running, and it is going to be football related again, but with a bit of a twist. So We will be up and running, hopefully, for the start of the new season. Keep an eye on our YouTube and our Twitter for the breaking news. We do hope you can find us and join us for that new project that we're going to be doing, and the news will be on Twitter. And if you want to follow us, you can find us at Football Talk for the moment. But remember, there's no A in football. So thank you so much for listening. We hope you join us again in the future. We'll be back with our new project in a month or so, hopefully. We will catch you then. Thank you so much for listening. Cheers.